From dark jungles and deep swamps, dense forests, and hidden laboratories around the world. Primal rage, high-tech circuitry, servos, blood, flesh and sinew, creatures and beings, automatons, mysteries never before dreamed. And nightmares never before viewed. Come now and join us for Creepies and Beep Beeps. Hey, thank you for watching. And today, we're going to take a look at one of the more legendary creatures of all time on this episode of Creepies and Beep Beeps. The dragon. From Dungeons and Dragons. Imagine that. The Honor Among Thieves movie. Dragons have been huge in just about any fantasy setting since medieval times. There are always old stories of slaying dragons, and a lot of that built up into what we know today in the fantasy genre. I mean, what were the dragons? Who knows? I mean, it was a guys telling fish stories. Was there something else going on? Was it leftover dinosaurs? I don't think there's a clear answer on any of that, so I'm not even going to bother to try. What I am going to bother to do is that I bought this Dungeons and Dragons Black Dragon on sale, and I'm going to talk about it. Black dragons are interesting because they are slightly different than most dragons with those wicked horns on their faces. I remember back in the day when Dungeons and Dragons tried to do their own miniatures and failed miserably. They were going to do all the dragons. First one they released was the Black Dragon. The major problem was it was entirely all metal. And those damn wings didn't want to stay in. They decided to have the wings detached, and the wings didn't want to stay in. The only time I've ever seen it successfully done was somebody used, quite literally, glue cement and got them to stay in on the back of the dragon. It was a disaster. And this is while D&D was still TSR. And I think might have been when Hasbro took over. Hard to recall. Anyway, I've seen several examples of plastic dragons that work well. This dragon is probably the size of one of those big gargantuan dragons that I've seen. But it was reasonably priced. It was only like $35 when it came out. I did get this one on sale for around $20, and the first thing I noticed was the horns are a little bent, but that'll be okay. The detail on it, in the paint, God, this is really cool. There's silver on the breastplate. There's this nice green in the wings. I really like the green. There's a nice sheen to the under the wings as well. That's really cool. I'm gonna be honest. I watched Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I don't even remember if there was a dragon in that movie. I know there was a dragon. I don't know if there was a black dragon. I remember a dragon looked like the one it was spitting hot tar. I think that was I can't even remember what kind of dragon it was. It just kind of flies off and flies in the frame and flies out. So I didn't pay attention. One of the things I really like about the fact that this movie just didn't do well in the merchandise is I can buy some of this stuff cheap. Although I see why this was so cheap now. Because although it's fantastically detailed, the articulation is super limited. You get some movement out of the jaw. That's cool. You get some neck movement. The wings do move. I was expecting that fully. I was like, okay, the wings better move. And the legs move a little bit. It's very limited. That was where I was surprised. I thought there would be more leg articulation. I was a little disappointed in that. I can kind of see the head. Maybe I would have thought there would have been some neck articulation and some in the tail, but no. So yeah, that's a little disappointing. He's not a statue because I've got a few that look like statues, and this ain't a statue. But he's not really articulated that much. A good dragon deserves a lot more articulation, in my opinion. Because of that lack of articulation, I guess they held on to some detail real well. Like the tail. I mean, little known fact that black dragons have a scorpion tail. And that tail, that's a big scorpion stinger. So yeah, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt bad. But nice scales all along the dragon. Really, really, the detail is really good. I am disappointed a little in the articulation, but I've had dragons that are pretty much statues too, so it's like, yeah, okay. I kind of see that you get a little bit more with this. It's not great though. Good for static poses. I'll put it that way. Accessories, he has none. None. They don't give dragons accessories. You should have like a bunch of gold to sleep on. Right? Yeah, exactly. But no, he doesn't. So scale-wise, yeah. He's scaled for 6-inch figures, which I think he works okay with as a kind of young dragon. He could be a venerable old dragon to 1/18 scale. He would be huge to them, so that works. I kind of crack up too because you look at the picture on the back and this kid who's like, dragon's scary. And, I do think the dragon looks a little bigger in that picture. I don't think the scale is bad, don't get me wrong, but I would have expected it to be bigger just based on that picture on the back. So, overall, let's face it, your dragon choices are few and far between. I've had a couple of dragons in my collection. Some were good, some were not so good. I'd say this is in the good range. But they've never done any great dragon action figures before. I don't think it'll ever happen. Dragons are too big. They take up too much space. I know I keep hearing Mythic Legion is going to do one. Probably be $1,000. There's no way I'm buying that. There's no way. There's no hell I would pay that much money for a dragon. I got this for $20. I think that was a good deal. I think if I bought it for $35 as it was originally priced, I would have felt a little cheated. I'm kind of glad I waited until the prices were going down. Although I do look at this, and then I look at the owl bear, and I'm like, there's a lot more going on here than with the owl bear. And the owl bear was originally $44. I don't understand that for the life of me. That one is really weird. More on the owl bear later. But this is pretty cool. If you're a fan of dragons, yeah, this is worth your time. If you're not, yeah, pass it up. Go ahead. That's a good deal to do. Pass it up and don't bother with it because otherwise it's just going to disappoint you. Okay. Thank you for watching this episode of Creepies and Beep Beeps. Don't get hit by a dragon on your way home from Grandma's. God, that's a terrible tagline. I'm working on it, guys. I swear we'll get one someday. But until then, thank you for watching. Do all that YouTube stuff of like, subscribe, comment, all that. But thank you for watching. Have a good one.